RES INDICA.
Hello everyone, welcome to RES INDICA IAS Academy, India's only design-based learning portal for the civil services aspirant. Desh Badla, Padhai Badla. We are going to discuss in this particular edition the news analysis of 12th of June. And I have tried to collate some important news articles from the Hindu and the Indian Express. I have also added the newspaper articles, the newspaper clippings from where I have sourced this particular data. And I have added it for your perusal. You can download the PDF from our website. Now, coming back to the news at hand. First of all, let us talk about Manipur. Manipur, a rude reminder of the Northeast tension. Manipur has been in news for quite some time now. First of all, why in news? Violence in Manipur is going over a month now and has claimed over 12 lives and displaced thousands more. Now, why particular this violence has taken place? Because an unbridgeable divide between the Meiteis and Kuki, Chin Mizo-Domi Naga tribe is too evident, and any resolution will demand utmost sensitive handling. Getting the point? Now let us talk about some issues. First of all, Meitei chauvinism is seeking to consolidate their position within the Manipur. Meiteis may lack a significant materialistic profile, but they have developed a strategy of networking with other northeastern resurgent outfits and militant groups. The peace moves by the central authorities are of no use because still we have fresh outbreaks of violence. Relocation of two communities is taking place vigorously, with parts of states being designated as Meitei and Kukis. And again, demand for separate state administration, demand for separate administration as the division of the state is currently gaining momentum. Are you getting me? Now, we have some way ahead and solution, which we are going to see later. One more thing is that the state government and chief minister, they have come under severe attack by the Kuki tribe for the ongoing violence. Demand have been raised for what? For the dismissal of the state government and imposition of the president rule under Article 356. Accusation that the police are siding with the Meitei attackers. And the Meitei elements are threatening to form a civilian defense forces to protect the people against the Kuki militants. Some solutions have been provided by the Home Minister, and he has said that we are going to have a judicial probe into the ethnic violence that erupted in Manipur. His proposal is of creating a unified command to oversee the security in state, which appears to be very draconian in the prevailing circumstances. What is the way ahead? Center needs to achieve, what center actually needs to achieve is an optimal positioning, even if it seems like giving far too many concessions to the people, to the, if I can say, insurgents and so on and so forth. Understanding the cultural factors are critically, especially in times of conflict, because lack of cultural understanding leads to cultural deprivation among the minorities. Therefore, it becomes all the more important to understand the cultural distinctions. And this process of achieving a proper equilibrium requires both sensitivity and out-of-box thinking. So in this way, if these solutions are looked forward to, certainly we can achieve a solution which is acceptable to all the parties. Moving on to the next, some important news, some international and some national news. Some international news. Our Foreign Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has held talks with the German and Australian ministers. He held meetings on the margins of G20 Developmental Ministers Meet in Varanasi. Bilateral relation, partnership, cooperation were some of the issues which were discussed. Some more national news. Indian Air Force and Army have carried out joint exercises in the central sector. How they have done so? With the deployment of multiple combat assets to check the operational readiness of the two forces. To exercise follows IAF, Indian Air Force, 2 strategic mission over the Indian Oceanic region and involves basically 2. One is Rafale and the other is Sukhoi 300 Mk jets. Now, Sukhoi Mk jets flew over the southwest region of the Indian Ocean, and the Rafale fighter, they have basically covered the eastern region of the ocean. These jets, they are demonstrating their operational prowess and capability to carry out long-range missions. Moving on to the next news, amplify the subject of adolescent girl nutrition. First of all, what is the importance of adolescence? Adolescence is a pivotal period of basically cognitive development and is also called the second window of opportunity of growth. Now at times this has assumed significant because it is an important indicator of women labor force participation in the long term. There are some nutritional concern. Why? Because adolescent girls are vulnerable to undernutrition, and we can see a lot of cases of anemia due to onset of menstruation. According to the National Family and Health Survey 5, data has come out that 9.1% of the adolescent girls were found to be anemic. Some factors which affect the nutrition uptake are environmental condition, cultural norms, which lack a gender neutral environment in a household. What are the consequences of this? First is cognitive impairment, which on a later date affects the academic performance. High risk of chronic disease and pregnancy complication. Getting the point? Now, what basically we need to do is that the need is to create a holistic narrative on adolescent girl nutrition and explaining its linkages with the overall mental and physical well-being of the girl, basically the adolescent girl. We have tried to increase the awareness using the targeted adolescent-oriented schemes such as Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram and the social and the behavioral change communication. Some modifications have also been done to the scheme of adolescent girls within the umbrella scheme of Prime Minister overarching scheme of holistic nutrition program, which is known as Poshan 2.0. We also need to redefine the intervention. How? Investment in girls' nutrition can break the intergenerational cycle of poverty, and they can certainly assume mobility in the society. Investing is not only a moral obligation, but also an economic obligation, because by keeping half of your population backward and malnourished, we cannot achieve economic development. And this is going to have great returns in the growth of the nation in the times to come. Getting the point? Now, moving on to the last news at hand. Some more topics. What are the potential economical impact of the Ukraine Kharkiv dam collapse? First of all, on floods and destruction. The left bank of the Dnipro river remains under Ukraine control and the right side is controlled by the Russians. What is the impact on agriculture? The flooding will approximately affect 10,000 hectares of the agricultural land on the right bank in the Kherson region. And it is likely to make the arable lands unfit for agriculture. Why? It is going to increase the salinity of the soil and contamination of the irrigation channel. Ukraine, called the breadbasket of the world, because it produces a lot of wheat. 64% of the Ukraine wheat is exported to the developing countries. So this particular impact of the dam is going to have repercussion on the food security of the developing nations. Some impact on energy. Ukraine relies on its 4 nuclear power plants. And the largest power plant is in the Zaporizhia, which is occupied by the Russian forces. And as safety precautions, shutdown is taking place in its operating reactor due to decline in the water levels of the Kharkiv reservoir, because this water is used as a coolant. Getting me? Now the last news. Why Nagaland ban on sale of dog was quashed? See, the reason was basically, the news is the Kohima bench of the Guwahati High Court has quashed the 2020 government notification, which is banning the trade and sale of meat in Nagaland. After the 2014 circular of the Food and Safety Security Association of India, it stated that the slaughter of any species other than the listed in its 2011 regulation is impermissible. The regulation defines the animal as any animal belonging to the species of ovines, caprines, solenes. And the court observed that the authority has the power to ensure availability of safe and wholesome food by making regulation. In this way, we have discussed the new analysis of basically 12th of June. Now, in our next class, we are going to discuss the news analysis of 13th of June. Thank you very much.